Okay. Yeah, we're live.
We are live bwana, toka hapa. The other kaki.
Well, good morning and welcome to the program. This is Reading Unfiltered. My name is Emmanuel Ouma here at Reading Media. And of course, yesterday we saw high political tectonic plates, especially with the ODM meeting somewhere in Mombasa and taking a decision to kick out Edwin Watenya Sifuna, who until yesterday was the Secretary General of the ODM party. To help us make sense of this is the political analyst, Mr. Odoyewidi. Thank you, Odoyewidi, for making time for us.
How are you, Emmanuel?
I am fine. How about you, Mwalimu?
I'm good. I can't complain and I can't celebrate.
Oh, why don't you celebrate?
What is there to celebrate? Nothing.
So, Mwalimu, yesterday, the ODM released an assessment saying that they are replacing the Secretary General, Edwin Sifuna at the time, with Honorable Catherine Omanyo, the woman rep for Busia, as the substantive Secretary General. What is the political significance of this, especially in the ODM party?
I think ODM is doing what it ought to have done many months back. It was very clear even when Raila Odinga was still alive that Edwin Sifuna had already quit ODM and was no longer espousing the ideals of the party. Edwin Sifuna was clear, was now working for another political formation that was not in the interest of ODM as a political party. So it is very important that we know that small detail. You know, our people have just one problem.
Yes.
They have been used to fighting the government of the day, that anybody who appears to be fighting the government of the day, to them appears to be their hero, their bold man, their truth teller. I think we need to know that not every government of the day is our enemy. Some governments of the day are our friends and are people we need to support very strongly. You notice that even in the near past, Sifuna had arranged his own political formation in which they were going all over the country talking against the position of ODM party in almost all issues, even wearing different colors from ODM. If you look at their formation, Linda Wananchi,
yes,
it is wearing blue, it is wearing the colors of Azimio, a political party that had since been taken over by Uhuru Kenyatta. So if Sifuna had left the party much earlier, maybe the party would be more stable than now, because you cannot be with somebody who is talking at cross purposes with the political party.
And my question again is, Mwalimu, when the party came out saying that, we are relieving Sifuna of his duties, Sifuna was at the time not clearly espousing the ideals of the party. But when you see how the media carried out this action of ODM, they said that Sifuna was sacrificed for his boldness. Do you agree?
Of course, you have known the kind of headlines the Standard had been writing since President William Ruto came to power. The Standard is one single greatest weapon against President William Ruto. Every letter they print is such that it makes President William Ruto not get the second term. So I don't think anybody should continue taking the Standard newspapers seriously in any matters regarding President William Ruto. They look for choice words that disparage the name of the president to use in everything they do. So I don't think anybody should waste his money buying the Standard in matters that involves President William Ruto. They have a personal vendetta, they have a bone to chew They have a bone to pick with the president. But going back to Sifuna,
Yes.
let us also remember that one day when Raila Odinga was in the country, and somewhere in Western Province, I think Kakamega, Sifuna told Raila Odinga that if Raila Odinga insists on supporting President William Ruto, he will be out of the party. Now, that is the height of what we call insubordination. You cannot do that to a party leader like Raila Odinga. And people have been saying that, oh, but you know, Baba kept on saying Sifuna is the spokesman of the party. Sifuna is still in the party, and Sifuna has a right to say what he said. One thing that we must know, that a person holding such important documents as Sifuna, such important office like Sifuna, you cannot tell him that we have lost faith in you. He can sabotage you from within. Just the same way, you cannot warn your house girl in advance that I will be firing you tomorrow. She can poison you. She can sabotage the whole family. So you wait until it is appropriate time, like they waited with Magarer Langat. When it became appropriate, they fired him. The same way they did almost with Ababu, but Ababu, they gave him the opportunity to resign because he was not misbehaving as much as Sifuna was doing. And I think anybody saying that Sifuna was fired because of it, you can't be bold in ODM, but when ODM says, we are negotiating with President William Ruto, you attack that very President William Ruto. When ODM says, we are supporting dialogue, you attack that dialogue. You can't be working for us. And you can't work for us by force. If we think you are not espousing the ideals of the political party, they will throw you out. And I think they have done the right thing, albeit a bit too late.
But how can you reconcile? Because when Raila Odinga was in the western part of this country, I think in Busia County, attending an ODM-themed rally, he told the people at the time who were baying for Sifuna's blood that ODM is a democratic party. If you don't like what Sifuna is saying, stand up and say yours.
Of course.
Yes?
Yeah. Even Kenya is a democratic country, but there are some statements which will take you to jail. ODM is a democratic party, but there are certain statements which go against even that democracy in itself. If ODM is saying they are talking to political formations in Kenya to find out which one they will form a coalition with, and you are saying the ones they are already talking to, you cannot stand. You are attacking it every other day. First of all, explain to me why Sifuna is attacking CS Mbadi. Explain to me why Sifuna is attacking CS, the other guy is called who? Wandai.
Wandai. And
this very Sifuna, while Raila Odinga was alive, he would go from funeral to funeral in Luoland attacking the person of Raymond Omolo. So this is a guy who had gone rogue. This is a guy who is no longer working for the party, but the opponents of the party. You cannot work for our competitors and still say you are part of us. Of course, that is a hypothetical talking. I'm not saying I'm an ODM.
Yes.
So, there is a law in this country. If you appear to be supporting another political party, to be espousing the ideals of another political party, it is assumed you have left your own political party. That is even in law. So these people who are saying Sifuna was removed from his boldness, why was Junet Mohammed removed from Azimio? Did anybody even complain? Did even anybody suggest it was unprocedural? Did anybody even think it was unlawful? Even Raphael Tuju was made to resign from Jubilee. Nobody talked about it. Nobody made noise about it. Why is this one? And if you look at it, the people who are more concerned and who are complaining about of Sifuna's removal are the opposition. They are the Uhuru Kenyatta axis. How come? So it is very clear, and get to know it from me now.
Yes.
Even in the ODM strongholds of Luo Nyanza and Western, the opposition that is being assembled and patroned by Uhuru Kenyatta is paying very many bloggers to spearhead their agenda in those areas, to look like there are many Luos who don't like what is going on, to look like there are many lawyers who don't like what is going on. This is the problem of having one person amass so much wealth that they can use to destabilize governments, that they can use to bring instability in the government of the country, just to get their personal interest done. Today, anybody who is telling me that Sifuna was so bold, and that is why he was bold in helping Kenya, how? How was he helping Kenya in his boldness? People have been made in this country to believe that President William Ruto is not doing the right thing in Kenya. How can you not be doing the right thing and you are building a superhighway that had not been built by any other government before? You are the one who has given us Talanta Stadium, and people still say you are not working. You are the one who is building roads throughout the country, even the one that he was disparaged most, where he was talking about Modogashe, where and where. Yesterday he was on that road, showing the world that I said this and the road is being built. But where Karoli comes from, a road is being built, a road that Karoli himself said had never been built since time immemorial. So let us not be cheated by people who are being financed to attack the government of the day for personal future interests. No.
But Sifuna said that people don't eat roads, you know.
So he wants us only to work for food.
Yeah.
I think Sifuna sometimes chooses to be stupid when he is not. How do you say people don't eat roads? It is road that delivers food. Isn't it road that delivers food? Isn't it roads that delivers everything else that we want? Sifuna himself come from Western Kenya, where we wanted to build the Rironi Mausavit Road to East Transport. And the opposition to this road is from the very people Sifuna is serving now. So Sifuna must also be rejected, not only by the people of Nairobi, but the people of Western Kenya. Today, we have a beautiful road from Nairobi all the way to Nyeri. Nobody complained about its construction, but the one that is going to serve the people of Western Kenya, from where Sifuna comes from, these very people have been opposing it, but Sifuna is defending them with all his energy. These are people who know, many of Kenyans, many people from Western Kenya, have been conditioned to be opposing every government of the day. So Sifuna opposing that appears to them as a hero when it's actually destroying the good things that we are doing. Some of the things President William Ruto is being accused of were done during Uhuru and Kibaki. But you know, the people also have one problem.
Yes.
They lose track of time. They forget very quickly the chronology of events. They forget very quickly the actions in the past. Today, they are being told that President William Ruto has introduced a levy called housing levy. Uhuru himself introduced the railway levy. And that railway, we are still paying for it today. And nobody made noise about it. And at least Ruto is introducing these levies, and what he's doing with them is seen. You've seen the way houses are being built around the country. Uhuru Kenyatta brought for us the big four agenda: housing, food security, universal health care, and manufacturing. None of them took off. Exactly none of them. We went to Kisumu and launched universal health care, which never took off. It is Ruto who came back with the idea of SHA, and now you can go to hospital and get treated and the bill paid. Now the so-called manufacturing never took off at all. It is Ruto who is now doing economic zones. Uhuru Kenyatta launched what is called affordable housing. Yes. Only one house was started here in Kibra, which never took off, was never completed. Today, all over the country, every county has affordable housing going on.
There was one in Pangani, Mwalimu, which was completed.
That was by national housing. Okay. I know about it. And also, even when you live affordable housing,
yes,
there is the food security. Uhuru did nothing about food security. President William Ruto came and introduced subsidized fertilizer because President William Ruto knows it is good to support production rather than consumption of subsidizing unga. Subsidize fertilizer to produce unga. President William Ruto ensured that Galana Kulalu irrigation scheme is not only working, but is ready to produce food, maize, and it is green today. What else would they want President William Ruto to do? To come and feed them in their houses?
But you see, Mwalimu, even though, of course, you veered off, but I want us to still be on that issue of Sifuna.
Okay, let's go back.
As of yesterday, he said that they're going to have a rally in Kitengela.
Yes.
It seems that the actions of the ODM party doesn't deter them.
It wasn't meant to deter them. It was only meant to throw out somebody sabotaging a political party from within, somebody disrespecting the top party leadership. That is all ODM needed to do. They did not do that so that Sifuna is incapacitated. So they can continue. Sifuna can continue with their rallies, but we know from where we sit that formation of Sifuna is a formation led by Uhuru Kenyatta. We must also learn that Sifuna had started wearing blue long time ago. He is in the Azimio, which has been taken over by Uhuru Kenyatta. But let them know they are making a monster that they will never be able to control. Because this same Uhuru Kenyatta is the one who said Ruto yake 10 and yangu 10. As soon as he secured his second term, he betrayed Ruto and said Ruto anatangatanga and said now he wants to support Raila. And of course, Raila's supporters were very happy, but they did not see the trick behind Uhuru's support for Raila. Uhuru's support for Raila was meant to make Uhuru Kenyatta an executive prime minister. And he even introduced 70 new constituencies to help elect him new prime minister if the BBI passed. Unfortunately for him, the BBI did not pass. And what did he do? He stopped supporting Raila. And that the ordinary people can't see because they have been conditioned to fighting the government of the day. This time, unfortunately, the government of the day is being led by President William Ruto. So anybody supporting William Ruto appears to them as a hero. Sifuna was very rude even to Raila Odinga. And don't think Raila Odinga appearing to support him, appearing to affirm that he has his rights, was in support. No. Raila Odinga was just preparing him for the slaughter. In fact, if Raila Odinga was alive, Sifuna would have been long gone as Secretary General of ODM.
But when you look at it in this let's look at it in this particular perspective. Is there any political capital that Sifuna holds besides ODM party?
Sifuna was picked by ODM from nowhere. He was not nobody. And ODM made him the Secretary General after replacing Namwamba. In fact, ODM made it, but he wasn't elected by anyone. Nobody elected Sifuna. In fact, so to come here and tell us that Sifuna was removed unlawfully, first of all, he was not even Secretary General. In fact, I suspect the person whose name appears in the books as the Secretary General of ODM could even be Nyong'o, not even Ababu Namwamba or Sifuna. So this idea of unlawfully is just political statements. It's just propaganda. It's statement meant to make people think in a certain way that he has been offended. Nobody has offended him. He offended himself. Yes.
Moving, Sifuna is the senator of Nairobi.
Of course.
And Nairobi, being a metropolitan city, and has always veered or leaned towards opposition. Do you think he's positioning himself for the politics of the city?
The Nairobi has always leaned towards opposition because these other governments have been having grave mistakes that people want to correct. But again, people have been made to believe that anybody opposing the government of the day is a bold man, a hero fighting for the people. You cannot have every government of the day as an enemy, that anybody fighting that government is a hero fighting for the people. We can't have a people always fighting their own governments they have elected. We must be civilized people who elect you for 5 years. You perform, they see your performance compared to the past, the present, and those who are queuing to take your position and make a decision that you can continue or not. Yeah, but not that you are fighting the government of the day, you appear to people a hero, because the people have been conditioned so. Yeah.
And when you look at it moving forward into the future, now that we have numerous factions of ODM, do you think this decision makes ODM more stronger or a little bit weaker?
Sifuna has no capacity to make ODM strong or weak. Sifuna already, while inside ODM, he was already sabotaging ODM from within. He's like a parasite in your feet. It is itching, but you fear removing it because it will involve tearing a bit of your skin. Tear it and remove the parasite before it grows and begins laying eggs in your system. Sifuna is that parasite who was in ODM, laying dirty eggs in ODM's legs. It is itching, and people fear that removing it will involve a bit of blood and tearing of the skin. Surgery is always necessary for a dangerous disease. Sifuna was a dangerous disease in ODM, that the surgical removal of Sifuna is the best thing that has happened to ODM since the death of Raila Odinga.
And this thing is not about Sifuna alone. We have numerous members of parliament, especially with the ODM party, people like Babu Owino, Ososi, and others. And even Winnie Odinga are pulling on the Linda Wananchi side.
And I think nobody has touched those people you are mentioning.
Yes.
The only person that has reached a threshold of being a bad person within ODM was Sifuna. He was extending his arrogance to a level we could not accept as a people, as a country. So ODM has just done what we would have wished them to do, and we say kudos.
Kudos. And moving forward, Mwalimu, you saw the statement of the Council of Governors insinuating that they won't be attending committee hearings because some of the senators are extorting them money. Are they running away from accountability?
Exactly. I think anybody listening to the governors and having any form of sympathy for them is like them. How can a governor come and say somebody is extorting money from them when he has not used a gun to get that money out? And why are they giving that money? They are giving that money because they know they are guilty of something they don't want to be exposed. The reason the governors are now refusing to go before the Senate is because the Senate grills them in public, and they don't want the public to know they are corrupt. They don't want the public to know the extent of their corruption. If they think the senators are extorting money from them, all they need to do is report those senators to the EACC with evidence, or simply refuse to give the money to the senators, go before those senators and tell them the truth as you know it. But when you give money first, then you come telling us that we have given money, we are being harassed. The person who can say is being harassed or extorted is a person who has been arrested by a policeman and is being told to give money. Because if you don't give money, you are going to sleep in the police cells. But a governor would still go back to his county in his own house. Why is he giving money? Who has arrested him? Who has forced him to give the money? Nobody. Just refuse to give money and tell the senators, senators, we are innocent. Oh, I am innocent. What do you want to know? How I purchased this, how I procured this. This is how I procured it. In any case, senators don't just invite the governors on their own motion. They invite the governors after receiving a report from the Auditor General, from other government agencies. So I think the governors are hoodwinking us. They are lying to us. They want to consolidate power to an extent that they are untouchable. And if we have governors holding almost $500 billion of our resources, also gaslighting us not to interrogate how they use our resources, then we are a dead country. The governors are already holding about $500 billion of our resources. And they don't want accountability. They don't want to be asked questions. They don't want to answer questions. We cannot ask you questions and you answer them the way you want. You must answer them the way the question is asking. And we can't allow you to decide who asks you questions. You cannot have your cake and eat it. If you don't want to be asked questions, if you don't want to be accountable to the people that elected you, then resign and go home, and you will not see no senator coming to look for you at home. No, we can't elect you, put our money in your hands, and then we don't ask you questions. That can't happen.
And then, by the way, what was the logic of them coming up and naming and shaming senators without taking them to the EACC?
Because they want to hoodwink them, they want to gaslight them. That is a form of propaganda. In fact, those people who are named should take these people to court. They go and tell the world how they were extorted of money. They need to do that. Because coming to tell the public what you should have said in private or to another government agency is trying to seek public sympathy when you are actually the one who shouldn't be sympathized with. Today, the governor of Homa Bay has requested twice that her appearance before the Senate be postponed. Why is it being postponed? Because she's still looking at this political process to prevent her from going before that committee. She's still waiting for the outcome of this political process because she doesn't want to go there, because she can't answer the questions she will be asked, because she can't explain how she did certain things in that county. Governors are being given a lot of billions, but when you go to the countryside, all you will see is work being done by the CDF. Work done by the county governments is not anywhere. The only work they do is employ councillors, carries who harass people and harass their political opponents. All they do is ghost workers. But development projects is not there. We can't see any.
So you're simply putting it that devolution has not lived to its potential?
Devolution was a good idea, badly implemented. In fact, from where I sit, I would have not liked to have devolution of governments. I would have liked devolution of resources. Like CDF is as an example of devolved resources. They should have devolved funds, but not government, so that we just have a committee whose job is to determine where those devolved funds is going to work, period. They get implemented straight from Treasury like the parastatals are being implemented. That is all could have happened.
Yeah.
But devolving a government is like devolving corruption, because the height of corruption in the national government is what informed the creation of devolved units. Then you devolve the units with exactly the same people who are looters in the national government. They will come and loot in the counties. And now you can see the governors are fighting to be untouchables. They are fighting not to be questioned. They are fighting not to be accountable to the very people they purport to serve.
If this impasse, this political impasse between the Senate and the governor persists, Mwananchi stands to lose to what extent?
They will lose, because as we are now, even with them appearing before the Senate, they are already eating the county resources almost to the last cent. There are many counties that on the development budget, they inflate the costs to double.
Would you mind mentioning?
So once they have inflated those costs to double, they end up only procuring a certain quantity that becomes half. And the people who wins these tenders don't even get paid. What that translates into is that they eat the development resources 100%, because one half they eat directly. The other half, which they go ahead to procure, they don't pay the contractors and the service providers. So they have eaten all that money. They have used that money to lay red carpets for dancing. They have used that money to lay red carpets for hoodwinking the very people whose money they have eaten. So we can't allow governors to have our resources in the name of devolving development. Then they don't develop and they don't want us to ask questions. How can that happen?
Because I have seen, for example, this is a case of Homa Bay, when the deputy governor was speaking and saying that, at least 58 billion has been dispersed to Homa Bay, but there's really nothing to show for it. It's a very bad state of affairs.
I think even talking about the total amount that has been dispersed is not even what it is. We need to go to the most sensitive part that helps the people directly, something called health. The budget for health, say in Homa Bay County, is 2.5 billion. Of this 2.5 billion, about a quarter of it is supposed to be for development, health infrastructure development.
Yes.
The rest is for recurrent. It means supposed to buy medicine and pay doctors. Yet this very health that the national government gives the county 2.5 billion to provide is also not provided for free. The patients pay for the treatment they get in county hospitals. And those who can't pay and have SHA will pay. Yet the national government also give them another 2.5 billion for this same thing. And yet, you go to hospitals, there's no medicine, there's no power supply, there's no water, the workers have not been paid, the doctors have not been promoted. And this is the key devolved service that we have. The next one is water. But health is very disheartening.
Yes.
Because nobody chooses to be sick. And you're supposed to sit knowing that now that I have enrolled for SHA, I can go to hospital, get medicine, be treated for free and go back home.
Yes.
But you will go to a county hospital in Homa Bay. First, there is no medicine. Two, there is one doctor who is not even special in what you are suffering from. So, they see you, you pay them, then you go and look for medicine outside. Yet, they have a 2.5 billion budget plus what they are being paid for the service they render. How are private hospitals surviving? Private hospitals are surviving, yet the government does not give them any money.
Yes.
Because they charge the patients. County hospitals also charge the patients, and the national government gives them money, but still there is no service.
It's crazy.
So, one thing we need to do, the people must decide that we are no longer going to elect politicians as governors or politicians whose ambition is on the rooftop. That you make them the governor, they want to make money to further their political goals. Because it is very disheartening for the people. And unfortunately, the people are so ignorant that they don't know their rights. They don't even know what to expect. They don't even know what kind of monies the governor holds in trust for them. They don't know. So if you come and tell them, oh, you see, the governor has sent you some little money here to build an ECD class of 500,000, they think that is all that is there for them. It is like a child that you donate 500,000 to, and the mother buys for him a sweet and you think that is worth 500,000. That is what we have in the county government. Very painful.
It's indeed a very painful state of affairs. So what prescription probably will you provide, especially for the Wananchi now that probably you want to be governor, you know?
The national government, together with the people of Kenya,
Yes.
must insist that the governors must appear before the Senate. It doesn't matter whether there are some senators who extort them. Let's just deal with those ones who are extorting them if they have evidence, but they must continue to appear. You can't say 4 senators are extorting you, but you don't have to appear before the whole committee. And it is your word against theirs. It is you to prove that they are extorting you.
Yes.
It is you to prove. And you can initiate their removal from there, but your obligation to appear before the Senate committee must continue. You must be scrutinized. You must be accountable to the people of Kenya for the money you hold in trust for them.
Accountability. Thank you so much, Mwalimu, for that insightful conversation. I hope to call you again so that you can give us a little bit of some insights.
Thank you, Emmanuel.
Thank you so much. This is Redding Media and Redding Unfiltered. Of course, we have been live on Facebook at Redding Media and of course on YouTube even at Redding Media. Until next time, see you.